Hello, and welcome to another episode of eBay Scavengers. I'm Mikey, and today with me is Jay.
Hey.
And today our topic is research. And we're going to talk about how we research on eBay and some of the tricks we use to figure out the value of things and what things are valuable. So, Jay, I think you are a master eBay researcher for your home.
Yep.
And you are always checking on other eBayers. I'm amazed. I'll sell something and Jay immediately writes to me in his life. So how are you checking on everything? What are you doing to watch everybody?
Yeah, I mean, because to me, I love to see what other people are selling because that's how I learn. So what I do is that, like you or other people I know, I do a bookmark of it's your store. And so I'm checking it throughout the day. You know, I probably check on each store 5 times a day to see what sold and what didn't sell.
So there's nothing automatic about it. You just have the wherewithal to sit there and open bookmarks and read it.
Yep. I mean, also when I say bookmarks, it's my phone as well. So, I'm waiting in line. I'm just hanging out and I'll just check my eBay app and I'll click on that save search. And I'll just see what's been selling. Because also it helps me to know if I'm having a slow day, I check and see if other people are having slow days too. It seems like and it kind of works out that way.
So when you say you're watching another store, you're doing it 2 ways, right? You're looking at my completed listings and, scrolling through what sold there. And then you're also looking at my new stuff.
Right.
Is that right?
Yep. So we also see what got put up. It's recently. I'm sure it's gone both ways. I mean, we've actually learned about things that we can sell from what we see in at your store, and and it's very, very helpful.
Now, you follow other people too. How many people do you think you follow on eBay, or what are you watching on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think I follow about maybe about 20 people. Mainly it's people like us that are selling a mishmash of stuff because we're always interested in getting into new areas, whether it be like bottles and glass or, anything. Anything we can think that we can buy for a couple bucks and then sell for, 100. That's what I'm looking for. How about you?
Gotcha. Well, I follow, in my bookmarks, I probably have about 20 stores that I follow, but I'm not as good at it.
Yeah.
But I watch your store more than anyone else's, and I'm always looking to see what is moving for you and, if you have any big wows. Mm-hmm. And that's so usually like every 2 or 3 days I'll check it. I like to when I'm watching a movie that gets boring, I'll pick up the iPad and scroll through your store. I
mean, I think because I've always had that feeling like it's just amazing that people can sell this stuff. So I just want to see if other people are selling the same kind of things I am.
Yeah, you know what my favorite trick is to go to completed listings on advanced search and eBay and look for people in your area and look at 10-mile radius, 20-mile radius. I forget what the intervals they let you look at, but I like to look for the people around me and see what they're selling because we're all going to similar yard sales.
Yeah.
And
is there anyone in a local region who sells quite a bit?
I have seen a couple of stores with inventories up equivalent to ours, up in the $1,000.
Really?
$1,000, the 1,000 item range.
Huh.
But kind of weird what they're selling. They're selling like baseball cards and stickers and other stuff. It's the same kind of dollars. It's cheap stuff.
Yeah.
So, but they kind of figured out a way to make a living for themselves. And I don't know who they are necessarily because all I can see is their seller and the zip code. So I don't necessarily know who these people are. So you have a few people that you're really into. Right, the super sale.
Yeah, and eBay, I do the same thing. I look for people in my area just because I'm always interested, like, are we the only ones going to these stores buying stuff to sell? Or, and there's a handful. I think when you're in small towns like we are, there really aren't a whole lot of people. No one sells as much as we do, but there's a handful that sell online. And, eBay doesn't really do a good job kind of making it transparent who's who. I mean, I just know some random guy's username. And maybe I'm bumping up to him at these stores, but I don't know it,
Yeah, I'm always looking at him with like a little, squinting my eyes. Like, I wonder if that's that guy, or this is this person. Or
So let's talk about Terapeak. This is something I don't use. It's a service like eBay seems like there's this whole there's this whole like world of eBay apps that you can buy into, and it costs a monthly fee. And Terapeak seems like it helps you out a lot.
Yeah, I think Terapeak costs about $30 a month. Does that sound right?
Is that right? No, I think it's got to be cheaper, right? $30.
Well, there's one where it's just you buy for your iPhone app, and then there's another one where you can buy the monthly subscription. And
Right.
I just bought a yearly, so it came roughly like $300 a year on the yearly, and it's a deduction, which kind of helps
Yep.
if you're selling a lot. Just one more deduction, but I like Terapeak for one main reason, and that is 90 days of completed listings.
Right.
You know, eBay gives you 30, Terapeak gives you 90. That
Right.
is a huge advantage, to have those extra listings pop up.
Huh. So having those extra 90 days helps versus just having 30 days, because I feel I just kind of need to get a sense of if stuff is selling. I mean, I don't really care how much stuff sells in 90 days or 30 days, as long as something is selling, and I can kind of get a sense of the average price.
Once you have the 90 days of data, what's nice is if you're selling something like a Mackie mixer, right? That's kind of popular on eBay. At any point, there'll be like 20 of them online. And if you look through Terapeak, you'll see that $120 is kind of top dollar for it. And anything under that sells immediately because you're a little below the average.
Yeah.
And Terapeak just throws up the average price in the top left corner.
Yep.
And it just makes it easy to see who got top dollar, what did they have with their stuff. When you go through the eBay completed listings, it's all out of order, and they shows listings that didn't.
eBay, I mean, I think that's one reason why I can't break down and subscribe to something like Terapeak, because I just get offended that eBay just doesn't give me that info for free. Like, I don't know why they have this weird business model where they're kind of skimping on their info to their sellers.
Well, I'd love to have longer info. I'd love to have things that go a year or 2 years or 5 years back. I realize it'll take a long time to do searches that big,
right?
But it's so helpful when you have an object in your hand that has a model number and you're trying to look it up through eBay history or Terapeak history.
Right.
And if you could go years, you would know all the ones that sold and what they sold for, and be able to like really learn a lot very quickly.
Well, yeah. So, but I think the important thing is about research. A lot of new people might ask us, how do you know what to price things? I mean, that's it. You just go to completed items and just see what's sold, whether it's through eBay or Terapeak, that's the way to go, really.
Yeah, I actually find a lot that I talk to other people who aren't that good at using eBay, and they'll always say something like, I priced this on eBay, and I priced it on eBay. People who aren't using time don't really know how to read the prices there, because they're not going to, they're just looking at running auctions.
Yep.
They haven't completed yet, or might not even have a buy. Didn't hit their minimums. You really have to have some practice to be able to actually look at eBay and determine what is the going price.
Yeah, I mean, and I think too, when I look things up on eBay doing a research, I'm often not looking for price. I'm trying to find out the names and the keywords. So I'll find some weird old tool, and I don't know what this tool is, and I'll just start trying to throw in some names just to see like what it was from, and other people will have some kind of history of it. Like, that's the really important stuff, the keywords.
The keywords are important. I am also doing the same thing when I'm trying to sell an item I'm not used to, like shoes I'm used to. So I know the keywords around shoes that people are going to look for, like vegan or slingback or lift or whatever. But when you pick up something out of your comfort zone and you're trying to figure out all the keywords that are the trendy keywords that people would look for to get top dollar on, it's really a learning curve to get used to a new category of items.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that makes us the most nervous is when we find some item, some really weird, rare item, and we just can't find it anywhere. There's no name, there's no terminology. There's no completed items. We've never seen, that it's ever been up. I mean, it's maybe Terapeak might come in handy because it's got a longer search history. So we don't know if it's something that we're going to put up too cheap or too much. And, that's the biggest nightmare, I think, for any eBay seller is that you put something up for $100 when it was worth like $5,000,
Well, I often, even when I put stuff up for $100 and it sells like the same day, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh no,
right.
I'm not.
Yeah, and I guess that hurts guys like us because we don't do auctions because I guess an auction would help kind of flush that out, you know?
So when there's no part number on it, Jay, what is your mode of research? Do you just go to Google Images, or do you have some other tricks that you use to try to figure out what you're looking at?
Yeah, Google Images, I'm not so good at that. Maybe you can talk about that, but we do a pretty good job just when we just start to put in keywords that we're imagining it would be. And Ryan, it's my partner, is the best at eventually finding it. And it might not be on eBay, it'll probably be on Google first, and then that will lead you to better keywords.
Yeah, I usually have to like Terapeak the crap out of an object, like just type in every possible combo, because like I'll pick up like a rusty old tool and I
Right.
can't read anything on it, and I'll keep searching and searching and just not getting anywhere, and eventually I'll like sand down the tool or something
Yep.
just to get some. This is
Right.
like Chicago. Like,
I
that's
think
helpful.
I think too is that people have to remember that I know it's a pain in the ass and it takes some work, but I find it kind of fun because it's like a mystery. And really, this kind of work is what gives value to your item, is to find those keywords and to be able to price it appropriately. I mean, we've talked about you could probably run a business just buying stuff on eBay that people are too lazy to figure out it's what it is, so they just sell it for $5 on eBay, and you could, put it back up on eBay for a lot. It's more,
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, I think if you went after auctions in particular,
right?
or buying in, they're only up
Yep.
for 7 days.
I just see people who are really lazy, where they'll have like a wool sweater. That's it, that they don't put the name of it or anything.
Right. Well, eBay is also cracking down a little bit on that, encouraging category uses and more photos and higher
True.
quality photos and
Yep.
that are, it's slowly changing into a little bit higher listings. Jay, you had an interesting thing you wanted to talk about in this show, and that was, who do you talk to about your store?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You talk to anyone?
not really. I talk to you guys. I mean, they, I guess, I come from a world like it's my parents were academics, and like it's my friends are journalists or they work at like tech companies, and it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's shame. It's just like I don't really know how to talk to people. The fact that we now make a living selling like old shoes on the internet, that we're like scavenging for junk at yard sales, and that we do very well doing that. I'm not quite sure I've kind of come up with the right kind of a language to be able to tell that story well.
So, cocktail party, Jay, and I'm meeting you for the first time. They say, so what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, we say, we work on the internet. I mean, we still do some of our regular work that we used to do before we did eBay, but just not as much. So we kind of stick to that story.
Gotcha.
And then,
Yeah.
and then, with like a local people, we don't tell anyone local that we sell on eBay, mainly just because we live in a very small town. We're afraid that just the word's going to get out. And when we're shopping at these places, like they're going to see us, like they're going to buy that here and they're going to go home and sell that. So that must be worth more than what they're paying, How
Yeah,
about
I've
you?
kind of stopped telling locally. There are other eBayers around us that we see at yard sales, so we talk to them pretty openly. Like they'll ask me about the new international shipping program, and I'll say what I've heard about it, and we'll actually chit chat about eBay while at a yard sale.
Right.
But we're not like exchanging secrets or techniques, or I don't even know some of their store names. We're
Right.
just know that people are selling on eBay, and
Yeah.
it's casual. There's no real specific.
So do you tell it's your a father about this, or, it's your parents about this?
Yeah, my parents know certainly
Yeah.
that I do eBay, and I'll even I'll go home and see my mom. Like last June, I went back home and saw my mom, and we went to thrift stores together. And
Cool.
she would pick up and she handed me like an apple coring thing. So I was like,
Good. So they've embraced that lifestyle. Yeah. I don't know why, yeah, again, it just be it's Protestant guilt or something like that, I remember we were living for a while when we first started doing eBay, we were living in my father's house. And I remember we had a little bedroom upstairs, which was, arguably very messy. but we were doing a business out of it, and because of that business, we ended up buying a house, so, but I can remember he thought it was very, very weird, I think he would look at us and just think we were like these hobos with like piles of clothes, and junk everywhere.
Yeah, I think my father looks the same way. He knows about it, and he's not proud of it or anything.
Yeah, but
I parents' generation, there's a little bit of shame. Like both of our, like your dad's like, is he a PhD? I know he's a scientist of some.
Yeah, he's a PhD.
So I think he's like, where did I go wrong?
But at the same time, like it's that typical story. He's a boomer. He worked for the same place for like 35 years or something, and it's retiring now, but he's like almost 70. It's like, how much more time does he have to like enjoy his life? So I hope he enjoyed a working.
So Jay, I have a funny story. I was talking to an old friend the other day, and it was through Facebook, and we were both talking about books we were reading, because we were reading a lot, and we got into a contest over who can read more books this year. Mm-hmm. And she mentioned, like, I said, well, what do you want to bet? Whoever wins, like, what's going to be our bet? And we ended up settling on a cupcake because she's been out of work. Yep. And so I mentioned to her, hey, like, try eBay.
Yep.
And go to yard sales and sell stuff on eBay. And she was like, immediately like, you're a weirdo.
Yep. Yep.
And learn like just to shut up about it. Like, I mean, we can get all out here on this podcast and be somewhat anonymous, but don't approach the locals or your friends or your family. Like, they don't need to hear about it.
Yeah, it's very strange,
But I realize it's strange when you start telling other people.
Yeah.
What kind of resources does eBay have to make sellers great?
Right.
My first comment is not much.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got a love-hate thing with eBay, I love eBay just because that's the place where everyone goes, and it does work. But I gotta say, it's very good for us because it's hard for new people to really understand how eBay works, Like, it takes time to learn where everything is, and you have to know the kind of tricks and the kind of hacks to figure out where all the info is. And that's kind of good for us because it really puts a high bar for a new people to kind of jump in and learn how to really sell.
Yeah, and most people who are willing to do that initial amount of work to get started on eBay and sell a few items, they're immediately turned off from the whole process because they don't do well, or things were complicated, or it took a long time, and they just kind of walk away. So you're right. That high bar just makes it better for the people who are willing to, push through and deal with the odd nuances of eBay.
And, I feel like, eBay was one of the first really big websites that popped up. I mean, with like 98, right? So, and I feel like they've kind of kept the same vibe, the same look. Just because they're afraid to change too much because, a lot of those people have been around for, 10, 12 years now, so, or longer.
eBay account in December 98.
Yep.
So I'm early one.
But I think like that's why I'm so kind of offended by all these services that want you to pay them and they're going to help you have a good eBay store. I mean, I just say ignore those people, don't pay the $20, $30 here or there, or if you do, really make sure it's something that's very helpful. I mean, the only way to have a good eBay store is just to start finding good stuff, take good pictures, and just put it up, and just be patient, I would say it takes, about 6 months to really get up and going from scratch, right?
Oh, yeah, to get your inventory high enough where you're making enough to pay the bills. And that's like low-cost bills, not like living in New York City in a fancy apartment bills.
Right, I mean, how long did it take at you guys? Because I remember it's been, a year now since you guys have been selling kind of full-time?
Yeah, I think you guys came here at the end of March or April last year and really turned us on to like put a lot of effort into eBay.
Right.
So it's been over a year full time, and I think it took us a few months to really ramp up our inventory. Not even that. Maybe we worked really hard the first 2 months just getting to a few hundred items. So. And of course, as it turned out, a lot of the items are probably still in our store from that time. I should do a search and see how many is still left from that first month of buying random stuff everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that the good thing about eBay is that there is a community, and we do learn a lot from people who are in the eBay community, where they'll see, like, I sell a bunch of it's military stuff, and man, every other day we get an email from some old army guy that emails us because we've listed some hat in in the wrong time period, and he'll give us the right its name for it, and it's great.
I love those like sort of anonymous tips where an eBayer writes in and says, "Oh, you have this wrong about the item. It's actually manufactured in this place at this time." And that's great because you just put it right into the listing, and the item is all that much more valuable.
I mean, I think that there are guys and girls, who are who do like a safe search, right? And they have like some category, and this anything new that pops up, they just want to check out because it's just the thing that they're interested in, and it's nice.
Now I've done the reverse before. Actually, Wendy's done the reverse, where she picked up a really fancy Native American piece. And eBay is very sensitive. I don't know if you've done this before, but if you list anything Native American, you gotta like be really specific: which tribe, what location, what time period. They don't want anything just claiming it. And we contacted an expert who we found selling other related items on eBay. Sales already even closed, but they, we found their username and wrote them and asked them a couple questions and showed them some photos, and they gave us a great write up.
Wow.
Like many sentences, very specific. Like it went right in. The item was sort of like officially stamped at that point. Now an expert has seen, and that was like a $500 vest. So that was pretty cool.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So, I think that, I think we've learned how to communicate with other people and to see the people who are into a certain kinds of items. And then it's most people are interested in helping out.
Yeah. Now, in your thinking, Jay, what is missing on eBay? Like, what tools could they provide you for free that would be awesome, that would make your life better?
I've kind of thought about this. I'm trying to think. I mean, we talked about, I wish there was a search. I don't know if it's a server problem, like they couldn't handle that load, but I wish that you could search through eBay for longer periods of time.
Well, I think what would be really nice, and I find myself wanting this a lot, is I've tried a couple of the barcode scanner apps.
Yep.
Like Redline, and Amazon has one. And they're usually not that good for me in terms of just rapidly taking a shot and giving me the price. The current used selling price, really what I want to see. Maybe if any of our listeners have a thought on a great barcode app, you could add that to the comments for the show. But I'd love to have a good iPhone app that just can scan barcodes at bookstores, on free boxes, at yard sales, and just scan, give me the used going price. I would just decide right there, pick it up, leave it,
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're the guy that everyone hates at those stores, right? People who come in and they like check it on their phone and then they just walk out. You're killing the small businesses of America.
I was visiting Santa Fe a few months ago, and I went to a thrift store there, and I had my phone out, and I was ready to like Terapeak and look up some stuff. Lady stopped me right at the door, said, "Put the phone away."
Wow, really? Holy moly! But you know what? I mean, we're kind of getting off topic here, but I really feel like small businesses of America have to like offer something more than just price, because they're charging more and they're more inefficient, and they've got to offer a more than what people do online.
Yeah, they do need to offer something more. And I think it's pretty common now that most pawn shops and thrift stores have like an eBay person that's somehow involved in hawking stuff on the side. Right. Maybe some of that valuable items is what I usually see. They'll take the $500 and up and list them.
Yep. I mean, overall, I think for all the small minor complaints that I have about eBay, overall, it's pretty solid. I mean, it works for us every day. It's got great uptime. I mean, I don't really know, other than it looking so, it's clunky, and maybe if it had its reputation, I feel like everyone thinks of eBay and they just think of like old grandmas selling online.
Yeah, I have some other suggestions for eBay too, though. I mean, like the Terapeak service, which is somehow affiliated with eBay, I think, because they're buying the data at least from eBay, if not the same company. Their service is just too slow. I mean, doing a 90-day search on Terapeak is really kind of painful to wade through. I mean, that probably takes almost 60 seconds which is, if you're at a yard sale on your phone waiting for stuff, that's painful when you gotta look up 5 items.
Yep.
And the other thing is, like, I don't see why eBay couldn't offer a sort of sliders, like little sliders you can move the mouse with, and be like, I want to sell this fast, and they give you a price. Or you slide it over to, I want to sell this for maximum value. Like, I'm willing to store it for years until it sells.
Yeah.
Like, I wish eBay would offer that, so I could be like, this is a huge item. I don't want to keep it in my inventory for 6 months.
Right.
Like, move it fast. What's it worth?
Yep.
Because it takes me a while to look at enough items to determine what is the fast selling price versus the top dollar.
It's always a tough one, because you don't want to just give stuff away, but you want to sell it quickly. So I think that's why, like we always say, have a big inventory. Because if you have a big enough inventory, something will sell every day,
Right. Well, sometimes it's just the storage thing. Like, I don't have big items that are taking up too much space.
Right.
Like a car rack.
Yep, like a car rack. Right.
All right. So, Jay, is there anything else you should add to this research episode?
Nope. I think that's it.
All right. Well, I don't think we have a plan for the next episode theme yet. So we'll just wrap this up with that as episode 16, eBay Scavengers, turning trash into cash. Thanks, Jay.
See you.